republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll start with roll call.
Matt Rankin.
Here.
Ben Metzger.
Present.
Eric Christensen.
Here.
Tim Mills.
Here.
Ryan Merling. And Sue Wilson. Here.
Ryan is running a few minutes late from work, so he will be here as soon as he can. Good news and board member reports. Anybody have any board member reports?
I just wanted to say that with everyone that's been traveling to state, just whether it's fine arts or athletics, I had a chance to talk with some bus drivers, and they take a lot of pride in their buses. Like, they were mopping the floors, they were scrubbing the outsides, they were washing it down. It was so cool just to see the bus drivers and how proud they were to be able to transport our kids and coaches and all that. So hats off to them and keeping our kids safe all year. Facilities did the same thing. I know that there were phone calls to lots of different people, like how are the chairs supposed to be set up? What do you need done on the what kind of markings do you need on the field? So just an awesome, that we're just one whole team. And then this afternoon I had the opportunity to go to the Grab and Go site for lunches. So our school lunch program started, summer lunch program started today, and just got to talk to Abby and her staff out there. So it was just like this last month was just a great reminder about the entire team it takes to run a school district. So I'm just thankful that everyone that gets a check and on our payroll, they certainly have a role in making us successful. So I was really honored to be able to experience a few of those other ones that we don't always talk about.
Bernie extended an invitation to walk through the high school build, and that was pretty impressive. Robbie got to a spot where he made me stop on the stairs, and he said, you need to stop right here and just take a look. And he said, and this is where Rob stopped, and said, wow, I never would have imagined that Indianola would get something like this magnitude of this project. And I saw what you were talking about. It looks really nice. It's something to be very proud of.
Thank you, Tim. Anyone else? Okay. Well, speaking of Rob, for those of you that have looked ahead at the agenda, you've seen that Rob did submit a letter of resignation earlier this month, and that was effective June 1st. So at this time, I'd like to thank Rob for his 5.5 years of service to the board. 4 of those years serving as president from day one during COVID. So there was a lot of unknowns at that point, and Rob really took the initiative from, like I said, day one, joining the board, to really do the hard work and do the things that were necessary, make some hard decisions. And I don't think that enough people in the public understand the level of commitment that it takes to be on the board. And Rob is a great example of someone who took that very seriously. And I'm personally, and as a board member, very grateful for everything that you've done, Rob. I'm going to have your son come up and accept a plaque on behalf of the board for you really quick. And if any other board members have anything that they'd like to say, I'd love for them to do that as well. We got to come clear to the owl so that your mom can see you.
Let's go back. There we go. There. Yep.
Did you get a good look at this? Make sure he hangs that
Yes,
up.
I did. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your service, Rob.
Aiden, you can stay if you want.
Aiden, here. There are a few more things in here that showed up for. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Rob. I know you weren't probably planning on that, but it's good to have you
Okay.
stop by one more time.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I said this to Tara the other day when I was back for graduation that I feel like, you know, the board, I'm leaving at a good time. The district's left in very good hands with a very capable board and an incredibly capable superintendent who will take the district and to new levels and to into the future, you know. And like Tim said, you know, earlier, it's hard to imagine, you know, Indianola, the high school is where it's at and stuff, where it's going and stuff, and to think that it's been many years the same old high school, and to see what it looks like or what it's going to look like here soon. That was really cool to be able to see that a little while ago. But no, I hope each of you guys can continue to look back at your purpose for becoming a board member, and during those hard days and when things are difficult and crazy and stuff, that you can remember that the reason are each of the students, and helping them get through 13 years of their lives, you know, and preparing them to be good parents one day, good moms and dads, good community members that give back to Indianola in one way or another, or give back to this country or this world in one way or another. So it was an incredibly tough decision the last over a year now, you know, to do what we've done and stuff, and to walk away from friends and families and community members and from my business, and you know, not seeing my son in the last 6 months, and wife, which Sarah's here now, so that's cool. She arrived this weekend, so I finally have my wife back after 6 months, which is wonderful. And we instantly realized became empty nesters overnight. Aiden flew back yesterday to Iowa. We'll be there this summer and stuff, so we'll work there, and then he'll come down and join us in August. But I know we made the right decision, and we're where we're supposed to be, we're where God wants us to be. And so I look forward to what He has for us and our family, but I also look forward to where Indianola Community School District will be. And when I look back, you know, a year from now, you know, 5-10 years from now, to see the work that you guys have done, the good work and stuff that you guys have done. And but thank you all for being good friends, and just encouraging each other and sharpening each other in ways that make our district better. But we have a very, very capable administrative team, an incredible group of teachers and support staff that love our students, and a lot of wonderful community members that want to see their kids grow and thrive. And so I think Indianola has a lot of good things ahead of it, and I look forward to see what our hometown will look like, you know, in the future. So in the words of Shelley's plaque, continue, go and do good work. So make sure you always look at the right when you go in her office, because it'll always be a reminder of what you're supposed to do when you leave that building. So. But thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Sarah, thank you for allowing the school district to have Rob serve as long as he did. I know a lot of long nights and time, so thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great evening.
Enjoy the beach.
Yeah.
I see your tan filter.
You don't need vitamin D.
Take care, you guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the communications and public comment.
Patty Alexander wants.
Yeah, I was just going to. I'm Patty Alexander, and I just wanted to say thank you to Rob Keller for navigating us through COVID and the masks and all those decisions, and it was really a tough time. And as a teacher myself, it was just so confusing, and it was just nobody knew what to do. So I wanted to really express my gratitude towards Rob for now helping us navigate through that, and also for his 5.5 years of dedication to our students and our community. So I just wanted to reiterate the gratitude that my family had for his service to our community.
Thank you, Betty. Anyone else? Next item is our presentation from our principal at Emerson.
Hi, I am Brittany Merle. I'm the principal at Emerson Elementary. I'm here just to give a brief presentation of a couple of things that we've been working on at Emerson. One of the things we've been working on is called a PBIS relaunch. All of our elementary schools have been working on PBIS, that all of our elementary schools have been kind of doing a positive behavioral intervention support and supports. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. I'll also be talking about our therapy dog, Sadie, which is actually Tara Paul's dog, but I have been kind of the handler in that, and then what that looks like at Emerson. So I'll be talking about both of those. So first, PBIS relaunch. So what we do every morning, we have our announcements, and we always talk at the end of our announcements. All of our students say at Emerson, we focus on our own body and mind. We stay in our own space, we listen to directions, and we all can do challenging things. It focuses on our 3 things, which is that we are safe, respectful, and responsible. So with that, we've started off with a few new things. One of them is shout outs. So as we started continuing to be positive at Emerson, wanting to make sure that our students are having a really good learning environment, we want to recognize all the positive things that they've been doing. We also want to recognize students that are going above and beyond what that expectation is. So how we do that is through our Emerson shout out board. It's actually on our wall in the lunchroom, so all students that pass after they finish lunch and they're going out to recess, they can see their shout-outs on their wall, which teachers, associates, principals, counselors, anybody who recognizes a student going above and beyond is able to give a student a shout-out. And then once they get this little piece of paper, which I'll show you in a minute, they get this shout out, they get to come up to the office, they can pick out like their favorite colored tape, little things that get them all excited, get to celebrate with Mrs. Menke, our office manager, myself, or Miss Miller, our counselor, and we get all excited, and sometimes Sadie's even in the office and they get even more excited, right? Like they get to show everybody how awesome they are, and any student that's walking down the hallway are like, oh, why did you get a shout out? What did you do? And so we get really excited about that, so celebrating all of the good things. We also have our Emerson tickets, which again is just showing that daily reminder of all of the amazing things that we do at Emerson, of just those expectations of being safe, being respectful, and being responsible. We also celebrate with our students. We are really big about goal setting. We goal set with our academics, but we also goal set with just what the expectations are in our building. We do that in our classroom with our ticketing system. We do that also with our shout outs in the building. That way students know what we're working towards. So with our shout outs, we're focusing on something specific every single month, and our students know that. So for the month of May, we were focusing on respect. So then we had a goal, and our goal was 120 shout outs at the end of the month of May. And then students got like a school-wide reward. So students were working really, really hard at going above and beyond, being respectful. And when they were doing that, then we would continue to share on the announcements, hey, we have 100 shout-outs, way to go. And then we'd give some examples. So students were recognized out loud in front of their peers. Also, then students were knowing what they were being looked for. And then also, we are building community. We're communicating with our families at our Emerson newsletter. We're showing our families what we're focusing on for the month. And then we're also celebrating with those families so that they can help with those conversations at home as well. So there's a couple pictures up here to kind of give you an example. It's pretty simple, but fun, to say the least. So every shout out on that wall, that was there is a specific shout out for a specific student. And then underneath, there was a little letter that at the end of the month, those shout outs go home to those students with a personalized letter from me. And then those get sent home to the parents so that they can share those with their student, which is super exciting. On the right hand side, you'll see a May shout outs. That's just a screenshot from my letter that I send out weekly. And it just tells you a little bit about what are we focusing on for the month? What's our goal? How close are we to our goal? What are we working towards? What are some talking points that we can talk about at home with our students and those types of things? Again, building that community as we're continuing to grow with our PBIS and making sure that we're continuing to connect to that community. The other part that we've been working on is our therapy dog program. So we have Sadie. Sadie has been welcomed into our Emerson community wholeheartedly by students and by staff members. She has just become a part of our community, and students and staff notice if she's not there. She starts our school day every morning by welcoming students. So we do a lap around the building in the mornings. She always says good morning to everyone, pops into different classrooms, pops by just in the hallways, but also she stops in the mornings at very crucial times in the office space to make sure that students are getting in okay, and she always likes to peek her head out that window to make sure everybody's coming in all right, which we'll talk about here in just a moment if you want to pass it to the next slide. So Sadie has multiple stories on how she's impacted Emerson students, and here's just a few. She helps in the morning. Some students, as we've talked about before, as potential ways to help, she has helped with students in the mornings. With our youngest to our oldest learners in elementary school that might struggle coming in the mornings, Sadie's there. She likes to perch her head up and look out the window, and she might notice that a little friend's struggling to come into the building. And if a little friend notices that, she's looking for her and we remind them, they're like, hey, Sadie's waiting for you. She wants to walk you down the hallway. It helps them come in the mornings, and she will walk them down the hallway. And it's quite fun, actually, because she'll walk down the hallway and stop and wait to make sure that they're coming. And so she does help them get to class. She helps students in the hallways. If they look like they're feeling sad, down, sitting down for a break right outside their classroom, she'll definitely notice if a student's needing some assistance at that time, and she'll sit, wait to be pet if she's needed to, if she's needed at all, or just sit and just to be a listening ear. When she's up in the office and Miss Miller, our counselor's meeting with someone, and that student might be upset or sad, a student might request, hey, can I pet Sadie, or can I just talk to Sadie? I don't really want to talk to someone right now. Sadie's a really great listener, and that's been really, really helpful. Sadie also loves to visit just classrooms in general for the whole building. As a PBIS reward system, some classes decided to try to earn time with Sadie, so like reading to Sadie and those types of things, and they absolutely love it, where they'll sit around on the floor and they'll read silently around the room, and Sadie loves that. She'll wander around the room and lay down next to students, and they're all reading, and they think that's super fun, and they'll pet her and those types of things. They also love to see her in the hallway, so she'll just be walking around, and they love to give her the I love you sign or give her a nice little pet when they're seeing her in the hallway. Sadie is an integral part of Emerson. They notice when she's not in the building, but they definitely notice when she is in the building. Even our staff members, we also like to call it, if they're having a rough day, they like to go and get a good pet from Sadie. Because sometimes everybody needs like a good pet from Sadie, and everyone likes to have a good smile. If you want to go to the next one. Here's just a few pieces of how Sadie helps everyone kind of celebrate or just spend some time with her when needed. Students have even made like little Valentine's cards or little art pieces for her, so sometimes there's been little trinkets that have been sent home to Sadie, or they're in my office for Sadie to make sure that students know that she's also cared for too, because they've helped her. What questions does anyone have for me?
Thank you for presenting all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I love how you said that you communicate with the families so they know what you're working on at school, whether it's the celebrations or the stuff we need to work on. I think that's awesome. And I do read the newsletter.
Oh,
It's
good.
awesome.
Good.
It's awesome. And funny story, I loved the name Sadie for one of my daughters. And then I moved to the state of Iowa, and everyone's dog is Sadie. There was no Sadies ever in Minnesota, ever. It's like I moved here and 6 of my friends' kids' dogs are Sadie. I was like, darn it.
What does PBIS stand for?
Positive behavior intervention supports. So it's just a way that we provide positive behavior, and then it's a behavior intervention that we just have different supports in place. So depending on it, like this is a school-wide way, and then if students need additional supports, then we can provide those supports in different ways. So like Sadie, for example, could be an additional support for a student if they need extra support for coming into school or those types of things. Yeah. What other questions?
And all our elementaries do PBIS.
Yes.
Yes, it's an elementary model, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like our elementary's mental, social, emotional.
It's our model for how we make sure that all students are having a positive learning environment.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Item number F is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull for separate discussion? Hearing none, entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Ben, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Discussion and action items for the district. With the out-of-state move and resignation from Director Keller, the board is currently in the process of notifying the public of an open director position. By board policy, the board is to appoint an individual to fill the position until the next regular election. The next regular election will be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. During that election, the vacated position will appear on the ballot, and the individual elected to fill the vacated position will be elected for the next 2 years. The position will then go back on the ballot November of 2027 to be elected for an entire 4-year term. At this time, as a board, we need to decide how we would like to move forward. I forwarded you all Rob's resignation letter. He did make a suggestion in there on a potential individual that he had communicated with on filling the temporary seat from now until November. However, the board can choose to do whatever they would like. If they'd like to take applications, if they'd like to.
Hey, just a quick question. So there'll be 3 other seats. How do you distinguish the difference when you're voting?
So there's on the nomination paperwork, there's a box that you have to check if you're going to specifically run for that position. And then on the ballot, it will be notated as a vacancy from Rob that is being filled for a 2-year. And I did confirm this morning, I called the auditor, you cannot be named on both.
So candidates would either run for a full term
or a 2-year.
Term, which could be confusing to the public as they.
And you can't list it as one pool, and the one with the lowest votes gets the 2-year or anything like that.
Gotta follow the way that it's set up. Because it's less than 180 days, there's no special election. The community has the right to petition the appointment based on policy. Our policy currently states that we will appoint. If the community wants to come up with the signatures needed to petition it, they can, but it doesn't really do anything because we are within 180 days of the election. There wouldn't be a special election, it would just be on the ballot as a vacancy that needs to be filled for the remainder of the term. And we have a 30-day window from June 1st to fill that said vacancy to be compliant with code. So we need to decide this evening how we would like to fill it, and then we need to schedule a special meeting between now and the end of the month. I think there's a 10-day, 14-day window from tomorrow, on,
So the board meeting cannot be set any earlier than June 24th to allow for the 14-day petition period for the time the notice to the public is released in the newspaper.
and again, the petition is, if we were to get one, it doesn't really change anything from our perspective. That individual that gets appointed would still
Have to run it.
serve in this capacity until November. They can choose to run if they want. They would have to go through the nominating process just like a regular position would, where they have to collect so many signatures, 50 signatures or more. And then they would have to have the paperwork turned in that filing window, August 25th, and I don't know what the, I think August 25th is the first day. And it's a day in September, but I can't tell you off the top of my head.
So on the 26th, are we considering, in the event that somebody brings names forward, be it Rob, anybody else from the community, when we're evaluating those names, that's our decision as a board for how we want to manage that? Okay.
Whether we would want to open and allow people to express their interest in a way, whether it's an application process or resume process, or just saying I'm interested in the position and then do some sort of an interview type of a thing, or
But they are interested just for the 4 months.
Correct.
Because then they have to run
they
their
have
full.
to run their full.
The only thing you can appoint for is for that up to the next election. So. And there was a great question about, well, why don't we just leave it open? By Iowa code, you can't because it's a vacancy. So when we filled yours, or it was considered open, you didn't vacate your position. You were still in the position acting as the elected. In this case, there's a vacancy, and you cannot have a vacancy on your board. And so you have to appoint for the special election.
Wants another plaque.
Say that one more time.
I said it looks like Donna wants another plaque.
I think she said no.
Oh, okay.
And I did give you, and I know I've sent this to you, but sometimes it's easier having hard copy. Just that timeline of all the things that we have to do, what we've already done, and what's coming up.
Here's the public notice that will be made public
In
tomorrow's paper, but I'll share it with you this evening. Pursuant to Iowa Code 279.6 and Board Policy 202.04, the Indianola Community School District of Directors hereby gives public notice of its intent to appoint an individual to fill a vacancy on the school board. If interested in being considered for appointment, please submit letter of interest, including your name and address, to Superintendent Tara Paul, or by mail, attention Tara Paul, or in person at the administrative office. Eligible electors of the Indianola Community School District have the legal right to file a petition requesting that the vacancy be filled by a special election rather than by board appointment. Such petitions must be filed with the board secretary within 14 days after the publication of this notice. However, since this vacancy has occurred less than 180 days before the next regular general election, therefore, petitions received for this special election will not be honored pursuant to Iowa Code 279.6 subcategory 1B2. The vacated position will be placed on the next regular election ballot to be elected to fill the remaining 2 years of the term of the vacated position. For information regarding petition requirements, including the number of signatures required or filing procedures, please contact Board Secretary Stephanie Montgomery at the District Admin Building.
How have we done it in the past when we've had this situation?
We've not found that we've had this.
There was, just shortly before we came on, Sue, there was a temporary fill-in that was appointed.
Remember then, 17, 18?
It was like right before we came on. Trying to remember the scenario now. There was someone who was appointed to carry out the remainder of the term, and then they just didn't run again.
And so there's a board meeting, but then between June 24th and July 1, we need to make a decision. Because it says appointment must be made by July 1.
And that's what we would need to do in that special meeting, is make that appointment.
Oh, so if we
And then they would
accept
need to be sworn in.
petitions, we have to somehow read them all that day then, and then make the decision that day?
It was Chris Scott moved when he took the police chief job in West Des Moines.
Renee Stoddard.
Renee Stoddicker filled in for him for the remainder of his term.
Was it his pick?
I don't know. I just remember, I remember that was right before Sue and I came on.
So I think your decision is, are you going to consider and appoint? Or do you want to have us bring everybody in for the special board meeting to do an interview process with them? Or just go by their letters of submission? Right.
It's a Thursday morning,
Thursday morning.
7 a.m.
Policy committee is already.
So we're doing the 26th, because it has to be after the. Okay.
I mean, we could do it as early as that Tuesday, the 24th. Or we could do an evening meeting on Tuesday, the 24th, if that would be better for you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm thinking it might be good to accept letters of interest and let people express an interest if they have one, and then we can review those. I don't know if we necessarily need to do interviews.
I agree, just letters of interest and then choose from there.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
You guys are okay with 7 a.m. on the 26th?
How long is this gonna be?
Depends on how many names we get.
Well, I've got to be out of here by, I have a whole academy coming, so I have to be out of here.
I would assume we'll have those letters in hand.
I will send them to you as we get them.
So if you do your homework ahead of time, Sue, you'll be in good shape.
If we all agree.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course,
We
we'll
don't all
agree.
have to agree, only 4 of us.
And it is for 4 months, so anybody that's not selected can be encouraged to apply or put their name on the ballot, if that's something
7 a.m. on the 26th, okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't think that we need a motion for what we've decided to
they,
do.
no, just the special board meeting, just to set the board meeting.
Okay, make a motion for a special board meeting,
On the 24th, right?
26th.
Motion for special board meeting 26th at 7 a.m. June 26th, 7 a.m.
Motion made by Eric,
I'll second.
seconded by Sue. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you guys for that. Teaching and learning. Consider approval of the 2025-2026 district instructional leadership positions.
I'll make a motion to approve the district instructional leadership 2025, 26, they're listed below. So those are our focus groups, our teacher, our instructors.
Motion made by Sue,
Second?
seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The HR committee meeting report from May 15th. Want to do that one, Sue?
Yeah, let me get my notes here that I took. Just looked at hiring updates. We probably have more updated than on May 15th. Kind of, do you want to, Shelley, do we have any update from this? It said 7 teachers extended those offers, still pending licensure.
Some of them were licensed and you approved them tonight earlier.
Oh, yeah, then there we go.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. We did spend some time on just looking at the substitute matrix that we have down there. We really were encouraged that when you're looking at band and orchestra for the middle school and high school, to really try to use a certified music substitute if possible, and when, instead of just maybe a substitute that has no knowledge or skills in that area. Some of those classes are long class periods, so if you get somebody in there, the kids could have a 90-minute study hall or longer. So worked on that, and also met with, or just continued to go through kind of how it's included there, what needs filled, what doesn't need filled, and really working with all the staff that really is involved in this. So we also bring a recommendation for change of hourly rates, right?
Next item, yep.
Oh, is that the next item? You want me to
Hey, you can talk about it.
do that? And so I don't even gotta pull it up. Why didn't it come up on my sheet like yours? Is it not a
Go
different
back out.
document?
Yeah, it's the, you have to go down to the next item.
Oh, gotcha. So we looked at, we didn't really, Shelley, what ones are the ones? I have food service highlighted at 1725. Is that one we changed?
That was when we were waiting for the food service director's input on that one. And
Gotcha.
it's presented later
Okay, okay.
for your approval.
So the custodians, like if you look, they were increased. Am I reading this right?
Yeah, so.
Right, like the custodian from regular staff to propose?
This is where it's proposed to go.
Yeah, yeah. So an increase with the custodian staff. A little bit of increase with secretaries. So I know Shelley looked at, what our other schools around the area doing, and we're really competitive with that as far as substitutes and stuff. So that's always important to make sure that we're getting the best we can.
Any questions on the HR committee report? Okay, the next item is the approval of 2025-2026 sub-matrix. Sue kind of went into a little bit of detail on that. You can see on the attachments there for elementary whether or not there's any special considerations when filling those vacancies for elementary, middle school, high school. And then on the second page where it breaks down the difference in proposed hourly rates, the substitute rates are listed on there, and Shelley did do some research on that to find that our current sub rates, both daily and long-term, are really where they need to be for the metro, and so those are holding at where they currently are. If there are any questions,
happy to answer those. Shelley's happy to answer those. Otherwise, entertain a motion to approve the sub-matrix.
So these hourly rates that are here on the right, that represents what's being proposed, right? And those are increases from where they currently are.
Most of them are increases, yeah.
Okay, so they're either the same or an increase. Okay. Okay.
Motion to approve the 2025-26 sub-matrix.
Motion made by Ben.
Second.
Seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Technology Committee report.
Just butchered that one, so you're up.
We started off the meeting, Ally and Celeste did a great presentation on the work that they're doing, and helped me out, Ray, but they're responsible for a lot of the in-building support and education of a lot of the staff. Is that fair?
Yes, mainly really was related to the education side of the house, with teachers.
But really a lot of outstanding work they're doing there to make sure the teachers have their head around some of the latest technologies and are enabling some of that technology learning in the various classrooms. They shared, I'm trying to remember the topic of one of the examples they gave was there was I think a fifth grader that put together a presentation on teaching math to the classmates, and that got reviewed by some folks in the middle, some of the students in the middle school. So it's really just drawing everybody in and showing how they can use that on a day-to-day basis. Had a discussion about AI, trying to help the teachers wrap their heads around artificial intelligence, and some leveraging some training provided by MIT. And then we got into we're looking at replacing our phone system, and so Ray and his staff have kind of been going through the bids there and trying to arrive at a proposal, which I think may be next on our agenda. And then we're also looking at Chromebook replacements and kind of thinking about that on a 4-year cycle.
Questions for Eric? And he is correct. The next item is the consideration for the phone system bid acceptance. Ray, did you want to break that down at all?
I think I included all that in the attachments. Basically, we put that out for bid. Came back, 3 different companies, all 3 reputable companies that we're familiar with. A little difficult breaking down the bids because there are so many different options and so many different ways that those proposals are put out, and the way the different companies offer that. But we came back with one that really is ultimately going to save us money annually as a district, and had good recommendations. We were able to connect with some schools that had used them, and they gave back a positive review on them.
I have to say I appreciate the way that you broke that down with the different rubrics. Made it a whole lot easier to try to make my way through that to figure out what made the most sense. So,
That's the process.
So you want to sit on technology next year?
I've done that once or twice. We'll see.
No. That's fine.
The recommendation is to approve the bid for net to phone from American Business Phones.
John? Make a motion to approve the bid for net to phone from American Business Phones.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Eric. Any further discussion?
Ray, is that the one that they're figuring out a Zoom component?
They have that already.
They have that already.
It's not Zoom, it's their own brand.
Okay, and what's the name of it?
Hubble.
Okay.
That's an option. We will still have our we're a Google district. We use Google Meet primarily. We'll still have Google Meet.
Okay.
This would be another option.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're all right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Finance, acceptance of the 2024 audit report. On May 21st, Audit Committee got together and reviewed the 2024 audit. It is attached in your packets. Happy to answer any questions that you have from that. But the big takeaway was there were no findings that were of any concern.
Motion to approve the 2024 audit report.
Motion made by Eric,
Second.
seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the 2025-2026 food service meal prices. You will also find that attached. Majority of the options increased by 10 cents for the 2025-2026 school year. You will notice that the breakfast also increased. We're going to discuss a possible no charge for breakfast at some point here in the meeting. But in order to stay ahead of the curve, if for whatever reason we pilot this free breakfast program and it doesn't end up being something that we continue in the future, we're not behind the 8 ball on the pricing.
So one of the things that, and why we want to take this opportunity to do this is, we're cited through the nutrition audits as having too much funds, and so we have to buy those down. And this is one way that we can do that. We can't use those funds to pay debt, so we have to use them for the good of all. And so if we could provide free breakfast, that might help reduce some parents' debt by providing it for everyone. We anticipate that it's going to cost us about $78,000. That's just money that we won't get through people paying for lunch or for breakfast. We will still get reimbursement for free and reduced, just like we do now. But then we will have to offset the cost of the full pay for breakfast in there. Mac is correct. We are, however, asking to increase that price just because of what happened during COVID when we didn't keep up with the pricing. Then we get cited for not being close enough to the reimbursable rate. So every year you will see an increase of 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, whatever it might be, to keep us close to the reimbursable rate from the state so that we don't get cited for not being too far away from that. So by increasing the price, if we don't end up keeping it into the future, our pricing then starts from the $3 or $2.25, not going back to last year's rate. So our recommendation, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, our recommendation is that we try this for a year. We reevaluate where we are financially in March to see if it's something that we can continue to do into the future.
Is the expected cost of breakfast commensurate with the amount that we need to buy down? Or would lunch be more commensurate with the amount that we
Be able
need
to
to buy?
afford lunch.
Okay.
Because many more students eat lunch than they do breakfast.
That's what I wanted to know.
And so we wouldn't be able to afford that. We can't afford breakfast. We may be able to afford it over multiple years. It just depends on how many kids start to eat breakfast because of the free lunches.
Could you offer lunch at a discounted price, 10% or whatever, 20% to
We can't for
spend
full
some?
pay, but it's hard, right? Because you can't, the only ones that you can reduce for are those that qualify. Otherwise, you have a full pay lunch. You could say, hey, we're not going to increase the rate, but then you're going to get cited for not being close enough to that reimbursable rate that the state sets for us.
Okay.
So.
Any questions? Recommendation is to approve the breakfast and lunch prices as presented, as well as including the pilot for free breakfast for all students for the next school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the breakfast and lunch prices as presented, including the piloting of free breakfast for all students for 2025-26.
Motion made by Sue. Second. Seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Facilities Committee meeting report.
We met and talked about what's kind of been the focal point the last few months of the baseball softball renovation project. The coaches and Bernie went to view some of the turfed fields in the metro that are gonna mimic or be similar to what ours look like. So we talked about, as they do that, galvanized versus black fencing around the fields. Talked about updates for the district operations center. Everything's pretty much good to go other than some issues with the front entrance door, so just working through that. Old administration building across the way. Bernie's crew's working on getting that cleaned up and prepped for remodel. AA is going to be office and part of that, and they're helping with some of the work. Talked about the high school project. HVAC system is going to be out over the summer in parts of the high school, mainly the main gym area. Shouldn't affect any activities or anything. Those affected have been informed. But it will be back up, ready to go in August when teachers get back, and they are in the process, Bernie and his crew are in the process of building safe rooms, seclusion rooms in our elementary buildings over the summer. Rooms already exist in the high school, middle school, and Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Questions for Ben? Eric, what's your favorite part of the night?
Policy time.
Policy time.
It's everybody's favorite, not just mine.
We have a new list of first reading. The 500 series has a handful of policies that were reviewed. There's a handful that were revised. The revisions came from IASB in their audit of our policies. There are no policies that are being rescinded this month, and there are 3 policies that have small minor updates with grammar, and there's no new policies in the first reading. If anyone has any specific questions about any of those, I'm happy to walk through them. I guess I completely walked over the report. I don't know, Eric, if you want to give a rundown on anything from the meeting,
I
or
don't
just
think
want
so, pretty minor.
Yep.
Just following trying to standardize with the ISB recommendations.
Motion to approve the first reading of the listed policies.
Motion made by Ben,
Second?
second by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. On the second reading, get my mouse to work here. There are some 501 series policies that did not have any changes from the original approval last month. Entertain a motion on second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading of the listed policies.
Made by Ben,
Second?
seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Lastly, we've got the board calendar. We've got our work session this evening, curriculum on Thursday.
I believe that one's going to be canceled. I heard back from Sue, I hadn't heard from Ryan.
Next Tuesday's finance. Next Thursday is HR. Following Thursday is policy and our special meeting. So policy will push back to whenever our special meeting is completed. And then we get our regular board meeting in July on the 14th. Any additional calendar items that anybody needs to talk through?
Meeting at the high school, 14th. On July 14th, would you mind starting at the construction site? And we'll do a quick walkthrough tour, just what's going on there, and then come back over for our board meeting.
You either leave it at 5:30 or you want to try to go earlier?
That's up to you. 5:30.
5:30? Okay.
If we can.
Yep.
Not the only show,
So we'll just meet 5:30 at the building site, do a quick tour. It'll just be a floor, ground level tour, and then we'll come back over.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Ben,
Ryan's not here.
second by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will take